Hello, everyone. Well, we weren't expecting to talk to you until later this week, previewing the Giants versus Texans preseason week 2 game. But a crazy amount of things, for some reason, happened at Sunday's practice. So now, as we're sitting here on Monday morning, hopefully nothing crazy has happened yet in Monday's practice that we missed in this video. But we kind of just wanted to recap what happened yesterday because just a lot was going on, especially one major injury that we want to touch on. But also, in positive light, some guys came back from injury. So we're going to get into all of it. Let's start out with injuries first. Well, it's basically all injury filled, but we'll start out with the defensive backs coach, Jerome Henderson. He said that Cordell Flott with a quad injury is going to be out this week. That is a big opportunity now for Nick McLeod to step in and make a push for that cornerback 2 job. That's what I've kind of been hoping for this entire training camp, at least since, when we went during open training camp. That was definitely, I think, a sight to see for me that Nick McLeod was very, I think, a positive light for this team. I think that Nick McLeod starting at that CB2 spot is better than having someone like Cordell Flott there. I mean, I don't know, Alex, if you agree or disagree on that point. I'll get to you in a second. But I definitely would rather see Nick McLeod, which I think is more aggressive, playing the cornerback position, and also just better at staying with more athletic, I guess you can say then, and better with staying with wide receivers on the field and not getting toasted, like someone as in Cordell Flott, who we saw literally get toasted during the Giants showing practices with the Detroit Lions. So, I mean, Alex, I guess before we move on, just kind of get your tip on that. Obviously, we never hope for injuries, especially on our own team. So I hope Cordell Flott comes back from that quad injury super quickly. But I will say that I do want, at the end of the day, it to be Nick McLeod starting for the Giants at the CB2 slot.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Nick McLeod. Obviously, has kind of uh, had a lot of, I guess, ups and downs in the league so far, and I think that definitely builds character. I think a lot of times these journeyman kind of guys, or guys who just, their careers have not gone perfectly to plan, there's definitely a chip on their shoulder, and you can tell that in certain situations such as training camp, where they kind of have that little extra 105% rather than the 100% that some of these other guys go at. So I think there is that to be said, and you could tell when we're at training camp, you could see Nick McLeod is one of those guys who really goes at it every single day and doesn't take anything for granted. So that is something you do appreciate as a fan. And I do think, obviously outside corners not his forte necessarily. Obviously safety and then also slot corners probably where he's at his best. But he's someone who's really been adaptable in his career, and that's something that makes him such a valuable asset to have on your team. So if you can use that asset and that's the best place you can plug him in, then why not? But obviously still have high hopes for Cordell Flott. I think he can definitely be a really good player. But it seems like it might take a while. And you got to remember, Cordell Flott, when he was drafted, was only 20 years old. So he's almost like the same age as some of these rookies that are coming out now. So got to give him some more time, and hopefully he can develop as well, whether that's at the slot or on the outside.
All right, so I mentioned positive injury news with players coming back, and that would be John Michael Schmitz and Evan Neal, 2 offensive linemen coming back from injury. Evan Neal coming off the PUP list, actually. Both players, they just participated in individual drills, and I think that you're going to see that for the rest of the week for them in individual drills as they kind of have this ramp-up period before playing maybe in a preseason game on Saturday. I don't think they will, but we'll have to wait and see. JMS missed basically over 2 weeks of practice before the shoulder injury, or because of a shoulder injury, which was the same shoulder, by the way, that he had a problem with last year, although a different issue, apparently, according to the Giants. We don't know what that issue was, and that was keeping him sidelined. For Evan Neal, he missed 10 of the final 11 games of the season last year. That was originally diagnosed as a sprain, if everyone remembers, but it later turned into a fractured bone, which he then had surgery for on January 2nd. That kept him out. And Evan Neal, he doesn't know what his role is on this team. The Giants don't know what his role is on the team, or I guess they do. It's a backup right tackle spot. And so when Evan Neal kind of talked he did talk to the media after practice yesterday. He kind of just basically said more humble now than ever before. We've seen him kind of wherever they need me to play, that's where I will play. So completely different shifting between a first round pick to play right tackle starting for the New York Giants for the next 10 years to now he's going to be that backup player, and he knows it. It's a different Evan Neal than we saw at the podium kind of 2 years ago, you could say, or even a year ago at that. So something interesting there. Alex, anything on that?
Yeah, I mean, life hits you quick in New York, with the media, with the harsh criticism quickly, and I think he's realized that now. And obviously, I hope the best for him, that he can fight back and earn his place. But it looks like as of right now, it might be tough for him. But obviously, we're all rooting for the 7th overall pick from just a couple of years ago to do well. I know a lot of Giants fans just start getting really upset in their mind. They're like, "Oh, he's a bust, so we should just hope that he fails." Obviously, we're still rooting for him, to get back to where we all thought he would be. But yeah, it doesn't look great at this time with Illuminor really playing well at right tackle. And for JMS, hopefully he can come back soon so that Greg Van Roten doesn't play at center anymore, which is really just a frustrating experience to watch.
So we actually have updates on Greg Van Roten here, and I'm going to run through these now, bullet points a little bit quicker. Brian Daboll announced that Daniel Jones is playing against the Texans on Saturday, or at least expected to do so, which we thought was going to happen after he didn't play this past week. Daboll said that linebacker Deontay Johnson with an ankle injury, which he injured in the preseason game against the Lions. Same thing, I think safety Javarius Owens had a knee injury also against the Lions in that preseason week 1 game. They did not practice. Johnson's considered week to week. Javarius Owens, no update as of now on that knee injury. Brian Daboll also said that Drew Lock, because of his injury in the Giants preseason game, will not practice the next few days. At least they're adding another quarterback as of now. That was as of yesterday. We still don't know as of now, as in Monday morning. Locke suffered a hip pointer and strained oblique during the Giants preseason game versus the Lions after a hit to the side of his body. That was on Friday. We have no updates on when Locke will return for right now. Daniel Jones is the starting quarterback. Behind Daniel Jones is quarterback Tommy DeVito. And behind quarterback Tommy DeVito is, well, nobody. But
was Nathan Rourke.
Was Nathan Rourke. But also we do have an emergency quarterback of Tyree Jackson, the 6'7" tight end who played QB in college at Buffalo. It's the emergency quarterback just in case for now. I just checked Twitter just to make sure. No updates on a new quarterback yet. Greg Van Roten got his first starts at right guard finally yesterday since the signing of himself. He started at the center position during the first team period, but then shifted to right guard with Austin Schlottman, coming in at center. Finally, not having Greg Van Roten play the center position. The Giants said he would play the right guard position eventually. I remember during joint practices they said that, or Daboll probably said that. They were waiting patiently for JMS to come back. Now as he ramps up, we'll actually see JMS at center and Greg Van Roten at right guard. Alex, before we get to the scariest news of the day, any thoughts on whatever I just went through?
I don't think they're going to add another quarterback would be my best guess, just because I think they'll just have Tommy DeVito and run through both second and third team. I mean, I could be wrong, but that would be my probably best assumption. And then for Greg Van Roten stuff, I mean, I'm glad that he's finally getting a shot at right guard. And I think that is where he'll play. I'm interested to see if he actually gets a starting spot, depending on what Illuminor is doing at right tackle, depending on, Stinney, if he has a good rest of camp. Some other guys, maybe Azudu actually gets a shot at guard instead of being this tackle for some reason. Again, one of the other very frustrating things that's happened this training camp is Azudu has not gotten a single rep at guard. So hopefully that can change. And, there could be some, I guess, fluid competition there for that right guard spot. So that's what I'm really hoping to see. But I'm glad Greg Van Roten at least is in the mix at that position.
The final thing we have to talk about, what everyone's been waiting for. Malik Nabers injured at yesterday's practice. Was limping after practice, some sort of left ankle injury. It's now confirmed. this morning, about an hour ago, I saw Dan Duggan of The Athletic say that it's a mild ankle sprain, which was expected, which was, which was originally reported, and he's day to day. Now, Nabers actually literally went off the field right after practice and went and sat down with Kay Adams as she was at Giants training camp yesterday, did a full 8.5 minute, 10-minute interview with her. Nothing, no talk about the injury, probably because they literally told her, do not talk about the injury. But I mean, it's not like he was in that much pain. I mean, he went and sat down with her and did an interview literally right after practice. So seems to be okay. Take it day by day, as the Giants reported. So that's really it. Alex, any thoughts on this Malik Nabers injury that's been cycling around the minds and the social medias of Giants fans?
Yeah, when I saw the news that Malik Nabers limped off the field yesterday on Twitter, initially my jaw dropped. I was almost ready to faint, but luckily it seems like it won't be that serious, and hopefully he can be back, within the next couple of weeks would be my hope. But yeah, it's not too big of a deal, thank God, and hopefully he can be back on the field soon is all I can say. But yeah, definitely was nervous when I saw the news initially.
We'll see if we have to record another one of these videos after today's practice. Hopefully it's not as action and jam-packed, because that would probably mean more injuries. So let's stay away from that. Thanks so much for watching this video, though, all the way through. If you liked it, drop a like down below, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one, hopefully later this week, for a preview against the Houston Texans. See you then. Peace.